Welcome everybody to this week's episode of Joey's Garage. Today I'll be testing Motor Mechanic at engine flush. If you're like me, you've been told it's good to do every once in a while during an oil change, but you just don't know if it works. So today I'm going to find out, so stay tuned. Welcome everyone, I'm Joey and this is my garage. Alright everybody, for the first test, I'm going to be using my 150cc scooter I've been recently working on. To test this oil flush system, I'm going to empty the oil while it's cold, and then as per the directions, I'll add in the oil flush to a new set of engine oil, and then run it for 5 minutes and see if it dissolves sludge, gum, and varnishes from the engine and from the oil pan. So after the second change, I should see some gunk in the oil. If not, I'm going to be a little bit upset. But I can switch over to my mini ATV. I'll try the same thing, see if I can get some same results or if I can get better results. And if that doesn't work, I'll switch over to my truck and I'll try the same thing. Hopefully, with the 3 tests, I'll be able to get some good results. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is drain the oil while the engine is still cold. If you've never drained oil for a GY6 engine, it's very easy. It just has on the left side of the bike, it's going to have an oil drain right here. You just loosen this up and it'll drain right out. There's going to be one on the other side, that's where the oil screen is, but you really don't have to drain that one. I will, just to make sure I have everything out, but it should just come right out. Now this oil is coming out pretty black. I have about 1,000 kilometers on it, or at least that's what the odometer says, and I actually broke this one in myself. I changed the oil every 250 kilometers when I first got it, up to 1,000 kilometers, and then after that I changed it after every 1,000 kilometers. So it's pretty black right now. I'll put in some new stuff and we'll see what happens. Now, another tip you can do while it's draining to make sure you get everything out of it, you can just grab the handlebars, just tilt it a little bit towards that drain, and see, once you do that, more comes out. So I'll just let this sit and make sure I get everything out of it, and then I'll come back and add more engine oil. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes. All the oil has been drained out. It's looking a little bit, or pretty much black. So I put the bolt back on, and I also drained it on the other side. I don't know if you can see that, but on the other side where it has the wire mesh, kind of like an oil filter they call it, I drain it from that side also, so I got everything out of the engine. The next step is going to be fill it up, and then I'll add the oil flush also, and I'll run it for 5 minutes and see what happens. So the next thing I'm going to do is add the new engine oil and the engine flush to the engine and let it run for 5 minutes. I worked out the math since the bottle 32 fluid ounces is recommended for a V6 to V8 engine. So with this being 750 milliliters, it works out to about 125 milliliters of the engine flush and the rest of the engine oil, and it should be just about the same as a V6 engine. So I'll add the engine flush first. And that was 125 milliliters. So it's going to be 625 of the engine oil. So I'll do 500 milliliters of oil. I got the 500 in there. I'll do an extra 125 milliliters more, and that would equal out to the 175. That is the capacity for this engine. I say capacity, but it's a happy capacity. With these small engines, you don't want to overfill them or underfill them because you'll have problems. So 750 milliliters seems to be the perfect amount for these engines, or at least for the 150cc. Alright, so that's filled up. We'll shut her on up, or we'll close up the dipstick. We'll test it out to make sure it's in the right range, and then fire it up. Okay, so I checked the fluids. Everything looks normal. It's right in the operating range. And the engine oil I'm using is going to be Rotella from Shell. I get it at Walmart. It's heavy duty. It says it's for diesel engines, but I use this for all of my ATVs, scooters, even my truck. I found it to be a really good engine oil, and I've just really enjoyed it. But everybody likes their own. This is synthetic blend. I change my oil very often, every 1,000 kilometers on the scooter, every season on the ATVs, and every 3,000 miles on my truck, and I've never had an issue. I highly recommend the Rotella engine oil. Awesome brand. So it's all up and running. Let's turn it on. I'll let it run for 5 minutes as the instructions say, and we'll empty the oil again, and we'll see what happens. So it's been 5 minutes, just as the instructions said. So next we'll empty the oil, and we'll see what kind of sludge, any varnish. We'll see how it looks. Alright, so after 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and loosen up the oil drain again, and we'll see how it looks. Let's see, it looks a little brown. That's about what the engine will look like to begin with. Let it drain, and I'll get a comparison of a non-used engine oil of that brand, the Rotella, and we'll see if we can compare it. Okay, so it's just about finished draining, and this is what the about 5 minutes worth of the engine flush, the oil looks like. And then we got a comparison that's brand new, never used in the engine oil. So it's not much of a difference, but it's hard to tell. Like I said, this is a brand new engine. It only has 3,000 kilometers on it. So I'm not too happy with the results. Okay, so I changed the oil, had brand new oil in the engine, then added the engine flush, ran it for 5 minutes as the bottle directed, and didn't get really good results. Pretty much looked just like brand new engine oil. So next thing I do is I'm going to bring my truck in here, an F-150, about 70,000 miles, and try the same test and see if I can get some better results. But that's going to be on the next episode of Joey's Garage. So if you enjoyed this episode, like it, subscribe to it, and stand by, because the next episode of the Rotella Motor Flush Medic is going to be on its way. So stay tuned.